and welcome back. I am Largo, and today we are checking out another SCP video. Continuing with our 001 entries, today we're checking out SCP-001, The World's Gone Beautiful. This was a commenter suggestion, so thanks very much for that. And judging from the name, I guess the world gets beautiful? That's all I got. So let's go ahead and jump right into this and see what happens when the world gets beautiful.
Hour 1. There is only one news story on every website, newspaper, and TV screen. The flowers are blooming everywhere, all across the globe. Every country, every landmass. The bitter cold of the Antarctic gives way to a glowing rainbow of petals. The Sahara Desert and Death Valley become beacons of thriving technicolor plant life. The highest mountains, the lowest valleys, the darkest caves. The flowers even burst free from the concrete of cities, as if reminding us that really it was never our world. We were only borrowing it. And today, our lease is up. This is SCP-001. Object Class: Unnecessary. It was foretold by tales from other dimensions.
Object Class Unnecessary. Okay, that'll be a first, I guess, as far as an object classification. Unnecessary, never heard that one before. I will say that if this were to happen in the real world, then suddenly flowers started to just pop up everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Deserts, the Arctic tundra, inside deep dark caves where things that require photosynthesis shouldn't be able to grow. Yeah, it would be pretty cool at first and be really interesting and beautiful, but it would also be kind of terrifying because, you know, what could possibly be causing that? And then, of course, there's the big thing, like, are these, like, dangerous? Do they release some type of, like, pollen that might be dangerous to people? And if that's the case, and there's literally nowhere on the planet to hide from them, then this could be terrible. So let's keep going.
A distant future coming down the tracks towards us. And today, the train has reached the station. Nobody's reporting on how the economy or the stock market is doing today. No point. Celebrity scandals have faded away into nothingness. Greedy businessmen, lying politicians, brutal tyrants. None of them are making the headlines today. The very last headlines. The world gone beautiful. And what a shame. It takes the end of it all to make us realize what really matters to us. That's right. You're looking at the end of the world.
Okay.
But it's okay. Don't panic. Take a deep breath in and out. It was bound to happen eventually, so no point worrying now. Even the Foundation knows that this just isn't something they can stop. So instead of asking things like how can we prevent this, or do we have any final tricks up our sleeve, let's ask a different question entirely. What would you do if you knew that you only had 24 hours until all life on Earth ends? Think hard. After all, even if you never live to see the flowers bloom, a final day will still come for you, just as it does for us all. Hour 6.
Okay. 24 hours. Okay, all right. So I guess there's a 24-hour span between the blooming of these flowers and I guess the end of the world? Okay, let's see what happens in this 24-hour period.
A D-Class sits alone in his cell when he sees the flowers growing out of the ground. Normally he'd assume that this meant he was in some kind of Foundation experiment, but not today. Everyone on Earth had an innate sense that the time is now. A kind of gallows calm spreads out over everyone and everything. It's over, and that's okay. We all knew it was going to happen eventually, right? He sighs and gives a slight smile. Those flowers sure are beautiful. That's when he hears footsteps outside his cell approaching. A key slides into his cell door and opens. There stands Dr. Gears, holding a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. Anyone who knows him might think he's been replaced by some kind of shape-shifting anomaly, or had his mind taken over by a powerful cognito hazard. But no, it's him, the famously cold Dr. Charles Ogden Gears. Dr. Gears says, "Come on, it's a lovely day out there. It'd be a terrible waste to spend the whole thing cooped up in here. It'd feel like a trick on any day but this. The D-Class nods and follows the doctor out. The normally oh-so-stoic Foundation senior researcher pours himself and the D-Class each a glass of wine and asks, "What's your name, by the way? I don't think I ever checked." The D-Class replies that his name is Harold. The two smile and chat as they exit the now empty D-Class containment wing. Everyone else is outside already. Researchers, guards, administrative staff, and D-Classes, all rubbing elbows, enjoying the beautiful sun on their last day together.
Okay, I mean, this is already pretty interesting. This worldwide sense of calm, almost like they said, like this gallows calm. Like, you know, it's your time, you know it's inevitable, so everybody is just like, okay. Honestly, me personally, you know, if I knew that it was literally the end of the world, while that is a bad thing, I kind of would be okay with that, especially if I knew that it was legitimately the end of the world, the end of everything and everyone. Then I'd be like, okay, well, if this is truly like the end for everyone, then I'm not missing anything. You know, I'm seeing the end of the story. I'm getting to see the end of humankind's story. I'm there for it, and there's nothing after this. Okay, I feel like I would kind of be okay with that, knowing that we're all going out at the same time together. There's not going to be any survivors. There's not going to be some rich people holed up in a bunker somewhere, or people that were able to protect themselves from this. No, it's everybody, and we're all going out together. There's almost a weird sense of togetherness with that, of unity, and this scene here kind of reflects that, right? Okay, you're prisoners. Guess what? Everybody gets out of jail. Everybody's out. Everybody's free. Go outside. The guards, the scientists, the D-Class personnel, we're all just here together. And I'm kind of okay with that. If that was the way the world ends, I would actually be okay with that. So let's see what keeps happening here. And I do find it pretty interesting that nobody's freaking out, because for whatever reason, everybody knows it's the end. There's no deniers, you know, there's nobody looking at the news and going, oh, this is a hoax, as we've seen a lot in recent years. There's none of that. Everybody's on the same page, and that's kind of what makes this almost comforting, even if it is the end of the world.
Elsewhere on site, a flock of SCP-514 is released, just as identical flocks are being released from every containment site all over the world. They've prepared it all for this very day. SCP-514 is a special breed of homing pigeons created by the Mana Charitable Foundation, which have the power to suppress aggression for those within their field of anomalous influence. And now millions of them are flying all over the world.
Okay, I do remember them talking about these carrier pigeons while we did the video on the Mana Charitable Foundation. Okay, so they're releasing these all over the world, which I guess means that there are some people that are freaking out, but okay.
After all, there's no point fighting on a day like this. There is no future left to secure. People always told them there would forever be hope until the flowers bloomed. No situation was ever truly over until the world went beautiful. But in the absence of hope, there was something even more inviting. Total, absolute calm. The Site-19 personnel sit together and watch the flowers bloom. Hour 12. All militaries call a global ceasefire. Soldiers from opposing sides hug and shake hands in flowery fields that once seemed choked by death and blood. Borders fade. Bitter rivalries turn to dust. Korea unifies. All is quiet in the Middle East. Gangsters and drug cartels drop their weapons and return home to their families and friends as flocks of SCP-514 fly above. What good is all the blood money in the world on a day like this? Wardens walk cell to cell through all the world's prisons, granting people their freedom again, sometimes after lifetimes of not having it. They taste the air again, feel the sun on their face. They close their eyes, drink it in, and walk among the flowers. free men. Locations of Marshall, Carter, and Dark Limited close their doors and shutter their windows worldwide. For the
Okay.
first time in as long as any of them can remember, they turn their signs to closed. They've earned a day off. Everyone has. The Chaos Insurgency rolls up their plans and burns them. They drop their weapons and throw away their tactical gear. As they do so, they can't help but question themselves. What was it all for in the end? What was any of it for? All the fighting and bloodshed and death. We did it day after day, only to do it again the next day. What silly reasons we killed and died for. What silly reasons indeed. The Global Occult Coalition dismisses its staff, thanking them for their service and telling them to go spend their last hours with the ones they love. Like the Foundation, they accept that this is the one true final end. No ritual to stop, no monster to fight, no evil extra-dimensional entity to thwart. Just go outside and smell the flowers while you still can. The Serpent's Hand are similar. They decide after decades fighting a losing battle, they'll spend their last day in the Wanderer's Library, reading some of their favorite volumes. All these wonderful stories, now left for other Earths to read. Their own stories would be counted among them in the end, and they take great comfort in that. In a sense, everyone will live forever in the pages of the books in the Wanderer's Library. Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting releases all of its freaks and clowns from their twisted grasp to go and live out whatever small dreams and tiny pleasures they could find over their last hours. They have no foundation of fear anymore. Nobody minds their strange appearances and odd behaviors. Why would anyone waste such a beautiful day judging others? On the last day on Earth, there's nothing left to prove.
So far, I am loving this one. Like, this is phenomenal, man.
Sarcassists drop their ancient fleshbound tomes, and acolytes of the broken god put down their gilded blades. On the slopes of Siberia, the jungles of Peru, and the most isolated beaches of Mexico, twisted flesh finally touch living metal in the spirit of husbandry. Their eternal war is at its end. In the face of the blooming world, they didn't seem so different after all. The agents of the Dr. Wondertainment Corporation predictably chose to spend their last hours sitting around and playing with toys together. Time well spent, if you ask us. In a highly secretive location, perhaps the most heavily secured place in the entire world, the 13 members of the legendary O5 Council decide to just sit and talk. Anyone who knows anything about this secretive cabal can tell you, the O5 Council has spent a considerable portion of their very, very long lives trying to figure out ways to dodge and cheat death. But now facing a death they can't dodge, the same calm washing over the rest of the world has finally reached them too. All they can really think this time is, well played, Reaper. Well played.
Well played.
As they chat about the kind of inane, casual things that they haven't had time to discuss in years. O5-3 suggests inviting the Ethics Committee over to join. Nobody disagrees. Hour 16. It isn't just the D classes. All sapient and non-aggressive SCPs have been released from containment, free to spend the last of their time as they wish. Tens of thousands of anomalous individuals are released from containment sites all over the globe. It'd be the greatest victory that the Serpent's Hand could ever ask for, if they weren't all too busy reading to notice.
Man, this is so interesting, seeing the way every different faction kind of is, again, all on the same page. The only one that seems a little off, not so much off, but the only people who seem like they could do something seem like it could be the Serpent's Hand, right? Because isn't the Wanderer's Library connected to multiple worlds and multiple dimensions? So if this is the end of this particular world, it seems like the only people who really have an option here are members of the Serpent's Hand who, in theory, right, could just go to a different world and continue doing whatever it is they do. Now, clearly there's something happening on this world that simply makes people accept the fate rather than try and run from it. So, I mean, obviously something is washing over the entire population of the world, regardless of what your affiliation is, and everybody is being unified under this massive blanket of the comfort that it's our time. It's our time. There's no fighting it. There's no running from it. Just enjoy yourself, and then it'll be over. So, very interesting. I find this absolutely fascinating.
SCP-105 Iris Thompson finally returns to her parents. The Foundation had fed them the lie that their daughter had died many years before, but as Iris had a tendency to do, she was ready to work a miracle. Her parents embrace her with open arms. They'll spend their last hours together catching up on what's happened since they parted ways, and making up for lost time. They couldn't be happier. SCP-1867 Lord Blackwood, the fantastical sea snail, is delivered into a warm rock pool near the site where he was being contained.
Lord Blackwood, that's still something I need to get into. From what I understand, you guys have told me that there's quite a few stories about Lord Blackwood, and should probably get into those soon, right?
There he might finally have one more grand adventure before all is said and done. Though afterward, he may not have the time to tell anyone about it. A terrible shame, really, because nobody spins a yarn like Lord Blackwood. The non-aggressive little misters run free. Mr. Fish eagerly returns to his native Boston, Massachusetts,
Mr.
where
Fish.
he enjoys one more lobster sandwich before the end of the world. Mr. Headless decides to go hat shopping because he wants to look good for the apocalypse. Mr. Lost finally settles down for the afternoon, deciding that just this once, he's earned himself a rest. SCP-2800 Cactus Man returns to Edinburgh to spend his last days picking up litter and helping old ladies cross the street. SCP-3663 The Tunnel Monster walks the streets of his hometown, searching for an old friend, hoping to reunite before it all ends. SCP-073 Kane decides to take a walk outside for the first time in thousands of years. He can't help but smile.
Oh, please tell me he finally meets Abel and they don't try and kill each other.
As the bright, colorful life beneath his feet is growing faster than his presence can kill it. What a truly beautiful day. Knowing that there's no longer time for cults to form and bother him, SCP-2662 Cthulhu decides to take a break from his intense Minecraft session and go take a walk outside. It feels so good to have the sun on his tentacles once more and to feel the lush green grass under his suction cups. He shakes his head, thinking once again about the irritating cults that had been pestering him for decades. What kind of idiot would want him to destroy a world like this? SCP-343, also known as God, sighs and looks over all his creation for what he knows to be the last time. His mouth curls into a smile as he thinks, well, we had a pretty good run. Still in his cell, SCP-049, the Plague Doctor, puts his feet up and decides to relax. The pestilence will soon be taken care of. On some animalistic level, below thought, below even instinct, SCP-096 feels grateful that no gaze will ever fall upon it again. Somewhere fizzling in a vat of acid within a highly secure containment chamber, SCP-682 is feeling, for the first time in its hellish existence, a sense of profound relief. The pain, the hate, the rage, the constant termination attempts, it'd all be over soon. Hour 23. People gather in the streets. They laugh and dance and sing as the moon shines, fat and white, far above. Deep in their hearts, they quietly contemplate the end of all of this. But why worry? Why spoil the fun? There's no future left to worry about. Strangers become as close as family in the end. Human or otherwise, anomalous or non-anomalous. Chaos Insurgency agents have last suppers with ex-Serpent's Hands and GOC operatives. There is no hate left, no violence, no malice, no cruelty. The greatest tragedy in all of this is that it took the ultimate end to bring it out in people. But why worry? Why worry? Seconds pass, then minutes. The world buzzes. It hums. Trillions of creatures doing everything they'd wanted, even though it won't last. In the face of the true end, the world has never been more alive. Hour 24. Silence. Forever and ever and ever. Good night. We'll end this video the way it began, by putting a question to you. How would you spend your last 24 hours on Earth? Let us know down in the comments, because it'll happen to all of us, eventually.
Alright, that was SCP-001, The World's Gone Beautiful. I really like that one. it's just something really different than any of the other SCPs, especially any of the world-ending SCPs, any of the 001s. Yeah, it's the complete and utter end of the world. No SCP, no anomaly, no people, nobody survives this. And it is truly the end of everything. Yet, at the same time, that's a story that makes me feel happy in the end, right? No war, no crime, no violence, no bloodshed, no fear, just comfort and laughter and enjoyment and everybody coming together in the end and just hanging out, man. Just enjoying each other's company, enjoying being outside, enjoying being alive, doing the things that they've always wanted to do with no restrictions. Like, everybody's just happy and there. Like, this is arguably an enviable way to end the world, right? I mean, I think we could all agree that we would rather have the world end like this, right? With a giant group hug with our friends and our family and our loved ones, and even complete strangers that we're just completely comfortable with now. And we just go out together with a smile on our faces, rather than kicking and screaming in a nuclear holocaust or with some crazy Lovecraftian entity eating all of our souls or something like that, right? Wonderful, man. The world's gone beautiful. I really like this one, guys. I really, really do. I know sometimes I get into these videos and, normally I'd be like, well, what happened? Why did this happen? What caused it? I need to know the answer. But you know what? No, I don't even care. If this is the way the world ends, I don't care. I welcome it, because that's the ideal for all of society, right? Just let's all work together, help each other out, be friends, man. What is the point? It brings up great philosophical arguments too. What was the point of all this fighting? What was the point? I mean, this actually shows you that even the hostile SCPs, like the old man and the shy guy, dude, they're cool with this too. The indestructible reptile that hates everything is cool with this, because it's going to be done. It's going to be over. Like, now, there was quite a few SCPs in here that I did not recognize and that I have not covered. So feel free to leave it down in the comments. Let me know if you want me to cover some of these. I don't even know if there are videos on some of these. I don't think I've ever seen that circus before, but let me know in the comments if there's a video for it, and maybe we'll check it out. Anyways, guys, like I said, really enjoyed this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. If you did, go ahead and click that like button. Consider clicking that subscribe button to help the channel out. As always, guys, leave a comment down below. Let me know what other SCPs we should be checking out next. What other 001s are there that we need to check out still. And thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves, and have a beautiful day.